A very good morning to my dear viewers. Welcome to the world of psychology. I'm Smita, MPhil graduate in psychology. In today's class, let us study about the origin of psychology. The term psychology is derived from two Greek words, psyche and logos. Psyche means soul and logos means science. So the meaning of the term psychology is the science of soul. So origin of psychology talks about the journey from soul to science. Imagine a student asking questions like why do people dream? Why do some people become angry quickly? Why do we forget names? Why do some people succeed despite difficulties? Now, human beings have been asking such questions for thousands of years. So, history of psychology is the story of how people tried to answer these questions. Now, let us study psychology in stages. Psychology as a study of soul. Now, the earliest thinkers believed that human behavior came from the soul. Now, people observed a living person talks, thinks, and feels. A dead person cannot. So they concluded there must be some invisible force inside us. This force was called the soul. Now, ancient philosophers they tried to understand human nature through reasoning rather than scientific observation. Now, say for example, if someone became very angry, they asked, "What is happening to the soul?" If someone dreamt at night, is the soul traveling somewhere? So, psychology first emerged as the science of the soul. But this definition that psychology is the study of the soul had its own limitation. Now, the soul cannot be seen, it cannot be measured, or it cannot be tested scientifically. Now, different philosophers had different ideas about what the soul was. Therefore, this definition was difficult to study scientifically. Coming to stage 2, psychology as a study of mind. Now, as thinking developed, scientists shifted attention from soul to mind. They argued instead of studying an invisible soul, let us study the mind that thinks, remembers, imagines, and reasons. Now, psychology became the science of the mind. Say, for example, students preparing for an exam. They may remember facts, they imagine questions, they solve problems. Now, these are the mental activities, isn't it? Now, psychologists became interested in memory, thinking, imagination, and intelligence. But this definition had its own limitation. Now, the problem remained, can anyone actually see the mind? No, we cannot see the mind. We can see the behavior, but not the mind itself. So, psychology still lacked what is called as scientific precision. Now, coming to stage 3, psychology was later considered as the study or the science of consciousness. Now, during the 19th century, psychology became more scientific. Now, psychologists began asking, what are people consciously experiencing at a given moment? Now, consciousness refers to awareness of thoughts, awareness of feelings, awareness of sensations, etc. Isn't it? Now, example, when you eat a mango, we experience sweet taste, we experience pleasant feeling. We can also see the color of the mango, say yellow color. Now, these conscious experiences later became the focus of study. Now, psychologists try to break consciousness into its basic elements, just as chemists break matter into elements. But this definition too had its own limitation. Now, two people may report different experiences. One person may enjoy a mango, another may dislike it. Therefore, consciousness was difficult to study objectively. Now, coming to the stage 4, psychology as a scientific study of behavior. This was a major turning point. Now, psychologists realized instead of studying invisible things, let us study what people actually do. Now, behavior can be observed and measured, isn't it? Now, examples include talking, crying, running, studying, smiling, fighting, etc. Now, psychology was now defined as a scientific study of behavior. Say, for example, suppose a teacher praises a student. Now, psychologists observed, did that student study more? Did his mark improve? Now, the focus of the study was observable actions. This made psychology more scientific. Now, coming to the stage 5, now modern psychologists felt that studying only behavior was too limited. Why? Because behavior is influenced by thoughts and emotions. For example, two students may smile. One smiles because she is happy and the other smiles because she is nervous. Now, the behavior is the same, but the mental processes differ. Therefore, modern psychology combines both behavior as well as mental processes. Now, today's definition is psychology is the scientific study of behavior and mental processes. Now, mental processes include thinking, learning, memory, emotions, perceptions, etc. Now, coming to why did psychology separate from philosophy? Now, for centuries, psychology was a part of philosophy. Now, philosophers asked questions like what is knowledge? What is soul? Why do humans think? But philosophy relied mainly on reasoning, and psychology wanted evidence. Now, psychologists began using observation, experiments, statistics, measurement, etc. Thus, psychology gradually became an independent science. Now, the most important event occurred in 1879 when a person called as Wilhelm Wundt he established the first psychological laboratory at University of Leipzig in Germany. Now, this event is often called as the birth of scientific psychology. Just as physics has laboratories and chemistry has laboratories, psychology now had a laboratory to study human experience scientifically. Now, because of this achievement, Wundt is called as the father of psychology. So, psychology began with the philosophical questions about the soul, moved to the study of mind and consciousness, and became scientific through the study of behavior. And today investigates both behavior and mental processes using scientific methods. Now, the establishment of Wundt's laboratory in 1879 marked the formal birth of psychology as an independent scientific discipline. Now, this is a story of psychology from soul to science. I hope you all understood this. Thank you for watching.